Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the MEGAHOUSE Bike Robo, their version of Cycle, in this new line of the machine build that they're making. Now you have to put some of these parts together. You do have to cut them off the sprues. I will show how to do that for the most part, and then we're going to get into the transformation, comparisons to a whole bunch of stuff, and then just talking about what I think of the future of this line. But is this good? Is it bad? Is it good quality? Is it bad quality? And would I recommend it? Well, quickly, yeah, sort of. Just depends. It depends. We'll talk about this guy coming up. Alright, so here is the box, the packaging. You do see Machine Build 02 Bike Robo from MEGAHOUSE, and you can see both modes at the top. On the back you see him in his alt mode, so front is the bot mode. You see all the parts and pieces, or some of them I guess, and then some words and stuff right there. There's the box. Now, also, real quick, this is how it's packed. There's the main body, and then there's all these parts, and so we're going to get into snipping all this and building this next. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is snip all of this stuff off of the sprue, and so with that, I'm just going to go through with the snips and just do this, and it's not much fun, but it's just part of what you got to do, or what I'm going to do. I've watched model makers do stuff like this. Now, I've said it in the last one when we did the rod drill, but they also sand off the little pieces, the little tips there to kind of make it look a little bit better for each piece. That's not something I'm going to do, and I'm probably not going to do it with any of them, but you could also just kind of twist these pieces off if you want to. That's another way to get them off the sprue. And so I'm going to go through, I'm just going to get all these parts off here, then we're going to come back. Okay, now it is time for some building. What I've already done is I put this side piece on, I put one of these tailpipe pieces on, one hand on, two of these. I do believe that these are specially keyed, one per. If you push it in, it doesn't fit, it goes in a different slot. That's kind of how I figured it out. Let's do the waist piece. Let's not waste any time here and do the waist piece, and it will, it's a little harder if you're not doing it right in front of you. You're doing it on sort of behind a camera. It's a little harder. This is probably not going to go in the right way. Just got to make sure you've got it in the right way. Do I have it in the right way? Yep, I guess I got it the first time. There it goes. So it looks like there's like a thicker one in the middle, and then two smaller ones on the outside, and they look like I have a bit of a curvature at the bottom like that, just to give it that look. Next I want to get the head in there, so we are going to, or it's not the head, but it's the kind of the windshield piece. So that should probably go in like this, I think. There's the peg, and that fits that angle, so push it in there. Let me get it behind the camera real quick, see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, you got to push it down and flat, so there should be no gap between this. It should just be completely flat, so then it just goes right in. That was easy. And then the hands, we'll just put the splayed open hands on. That's done. And then we're going to put the leg in. It is keyed. There's this little bit right there that is keyed. So this is it's actually kind of like the chain drive mechanism right there. And then I opted to make sure that I put the sprue mark on the inside just to make it look a little bit cleaner, especially in both modes. It's not really that noticeable, but if I point it, it's right there. So it's just a little less noticeable on the sprue mark. Anyway, not a big deal. And then we put these on right here, and then we're going to finish assembling his engine / weapon, and that is going to be right here. So let's see, there it is. That all matches up. And there's his handle, which he does not have the correct hand for that. So we're gonna get back, look at these accessories, and finish taking a look at this guy. Okay, so before I get to the accessories, I kind of do want to just kind of showcase with the splayed hands on him and go ahead and do some articulation real quick. Then we'll do the hands, because I think I figured out why there's two different types of closed hands. And so with that, he's not a bad looking figure overall. Now this, I don't think this is painted. It might be, but it might just be cast in a kind of a shinier silver plastic, which I'm okay with the color and the look and aesthetic of that. This is bare bones plastic probably. And most all of it's bare bones plastic. I think there's a paint app here. There's paint apps. That's either, no, it's probably more plastic too. There's some paint apps on it, I think, or it's all just plastic they've popped in. They've already pre-assembled some of it. But I want to say that his shoulders are kind of loose. Like, I can get poses with it, but I got to be careful. It won't hold that much. So looking at him, his head does go to side, but now it's limited. It's a little bit limited. We do have these in the back. Shoulders go out to here, 360, of course. We have the bicep swivel, and we have a double, is it double jointed on the elbow? Double, well, it's almost double jointed. Yeah, it is double jointed, but it doesn't give you the full double jointed range. It's strange how they did that. You do have the hands and the arms pop off because this is a build, but it comes pre-assembled like this. So if your arms pop off, push the shoulder up like that and push down. Okay, then you have just, you know, pretty much what you're gonna do with hands, pop them on and pop them off. So at this point, I'm gonna pop one of these other hands on. Is this the right one? Huh, no, it's the left one. That's not right, it's left. Okay, then we have the waist swivel, and then there's a little bit of an ab crunch, which I don't know if it's a little bit of ab crunch or just disassembly. Anyhow, then the leg goes up to here, goes back to here. That's about it. That far out to the side. Little bit of a thigh swivel. Yeah, quite a bit of a thigh swivel. And you have the swivel right here. And you have what I think is double jointed for the knee, but it doesn't give you the quite a full range there. And then you have some foot down, ankle rockers, and all that kind of stuff. So you have quite a bit of posability in this guy. And I just want to say, though, he is a bit loose. But you can get him in his pose and pretty much hold whatever pose you want him to hold. But you just have to be a little bit careful. But yeah, he is loose. And loose shoulders are an issue because these wheels have some weight behind them. So I want to show that he has two sets of hands. Two sets of the closed fist hands. And he can get into here with that. So looking at the difference in size, one's a lot bigger. So the bigger one is, I think, used in the alt mode. From looking at this picture, it does appear that the bigger ones would be used in the alt mode. I think you can get away with either one, but we'll find out when we do the transformation and all that kind of stuff. So that's one difference in there. Then he can also hold this. So let's slide him back there. He is kind of a loose figure. I wish his tolerance was a little bit tighter, but I think it's kind of a model kit thing. Now these pieces will probably go into for the transformation. It does still look pretty good. This is a handle that he can use to hold this. And that doesn't really look great. But it is a thing that they had with the original vintage ones, so that is carried over in this. So it is going to be parts forming. I don't know if, I think it can clip to his back though. Yeah, so there's a hole right here. Get those down out of the way, and then you can clip it. Maybe you have to lift those up out of the way. I'm not sure. Clip it to his back, and it can hold on to his back and be self-contained, and he can walk around with his backpack back there. Kind of a better idea than what we saw with the Super GOBOT version, but yes, it's part forming, and I'm okay with it. So now we're going to get into some fun comparisons with all of the different side kills. So each one of these side kills is going to be compared to this guy. And of course, why not? Why not? Looks like a whole lot of fun, so let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with the original G1 3.75 inch figure, and with that, the vintage. And as you can see, they have a lot of similarities to each other. Now this one is considerably smaller, and so we're getting into bigger, but still not, in my opinion, masterpiece scale or masterpiece quality so much. But we do have the extra articulation. So we don't have a bicep swivel. This one has a bicep swivel, a head swivel. So this one's head does not swivel, bicep doesn't swivel, hands don't move, no elbow, no waist. Just a little bit at the knee, and I think you have to move them both at the same time. Anyhow, it's more of a slight statue than an action figure, but you already saw the increase in articulation for this guy. So that is really exactly what I want for GoBots. I want pretty much the exact same transformation, the same look and aesthetic, but I want them to have the articulation. Here's the Action Toys, which I think when it came out was about the same price point, around 40 or 50 bucks. I got this one for 30, and I was highly disappointed in it. I do not like this figure a lot. I don't hate it, I just don't love it. So I like this one better. And actually, when I'm done, I'm going to tell you where this one ranks out of all these. So just so you know, full honesty there, this one is low on my list. He has more heft to it. No die cast here. Lots of die cast for this. A lot heavier than this one because he's smaller, but he's got die cast. So this is the Super GoBot Cycle and, well, Bike Robo. But anyway, we knew him as Cycle. So this is the standard version where he has his backpack like that. This one is my custom where I kind of took the wheels off of there, which it really wasn't that hard. Then I fabricated a piece to connect them to the shoulders, which really wasn't that hard. But you can see it still carries a bit of a backpack, and I'm okay with it. And I really like the engineering on how they did this new one. Now we're getting into the DX9 Salmore, and I never really liked the way this one looked at all. It was kind of just a cash grab from their Wreck-Gar to try to turn their Wreck-Gar into a cash grab GoBot, which I was okay with the fact that, hey, we got this. I got it on sale for like 30. I can't remember if I paid 30 or 50, something along those lines. But price-wise, it was the right price. But I still never liked the aesthetic of it. And so aesthetic-wise, I like this better. Face-wise, you can start seeing they are starting to get into getting closer to the Cycle face with the Salmore, but still not quite there. Then we get into the Action Toys version of Bike Robo. And I have to tell you, I like everything on this one. This, to me, is the gold standard of where GoBots should be. I like this. I wish that they would make more of these, but keep the simplicity of this. So, this is the best of any Cycle figure you can buy, and it's the Action Toys Deluxe version. This one here is really close. It's a close second, and really, it would I would say that the vintage one beats it out because of nostalgia purposes, but it's taking the vintage, but it's making it more articulated. It's kind of like what Masters Universe did with their Origins for their Masters Universe figures. It's also kind of like what this new Takara Optimus Prime is doing. But so I would say number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay, so here he is next to Rod Drill or Screwhead, and we still have one more coming in the series down the road. I look forward to more of these coming. Yes, they are kind of cheap. They don't have die cast. They feel kind of cheap, but they look the part, and they are pretty much exactly what I want out of GoBots. The exactly part, die cast paint, and bigger would be perfect, but this is what we're getting, and it's not horrible. Here he is next to some more of the Action Toys from many years back that made this line and just stopped, just dead stop. We never got their turbo, but I want to point out a couple things. These, I think the Buggy Man looks pretty good. Tank's okay, but it needs to be more of this color, in my opinion. And then I would like a green version of Blaster, but overly complicated. And those figures are now commanding a little bit of a hefty price on the secondary market, and I would rather just fill it all out with very original styled look of this one. These may feel a little bit more stout, a little bit more sturdy, and a little more hefty, but I like the look of this and the direction that they're going with this a whole lot better than those, even though those feel a little bit more premium. Okay, so now we're going to get into transforming this guy, which should be pretty easy. It's going to turn into this bike back here. So we do the obvious, take the wheels off. Got the wheels off this thing. Unplug the motor. You can close off the handle. That would be pretty good. And then we don't have to really do anything with the head. So we're going to push the arms up, and they slightly go in just a little bit. It's not quite as, they don't go in quite as much as, say, the vintage one. And then we want to get the hands positioned properly. And I think we'll leave one of each hand on there, straighten out the elbows, just see if we like the look, what we like the look of these hands a little bit more, you know, which one, the longer one or the shorter one. And then it's just pretty much just like the original. It's that simple. It's that easy. I love this. Fold the toes. So the original one didn't have toe folding, a toe folding mechanism. Then I think both of the wheels are the same, which makes sense. And there we've got that. And then we can put this, let's go ahead and do the engine next. So we are going to rest it into here and plug it all in. Aha! Plugs in into these little gaps that are in there. Holds in place. Nice. And then it should tab into like so. It's not a firm tab, but something tabs in there. No, that works. And then we're going to put the other wheel on real quick, and this is where I think we need the longer hands, and there we go. We got them. Move the handlebars back, and we got them. Well, tighten it up a little bit. I want to tighten up that waist area a bit, keep it all together, but not too bad. Not too bad of a motorcycle. Let's have a look at this, and I think I'm going to get some figures to try to ride it. Okay, so here he is in his motorcycle mode, and I want to say Thrasher is a little bit too big for it and too small for it at the same time. So as you can see, this is kind of one of these Harley ones they had for $6 at Walmart, and then this is the Cycle. But I want to admit that it actually fits better than most of them. So yeah, you can put your 3.75 figures on there if you wanted to. Let's look at him in his alt mode, and I want to say that it does look pretty good. It looks like a very good cycle alt mode, or a bike Robo, depending on which line you collected for whatever reason. So here is a little windshield that we plugged in and made ourselves there, put that in there, and this is a little bit of gappiness here, and it feels like you might be realigning that every once in a while, but it's not that big of a deal. This handle also works as like a faux kickstand. It helps it kind of hold its position a little bit better. If you tuck that in, it doesn't, well, it does about the same. I don't know. I feel like I have a little bit better control of it with that on there. It does roll, actually. If you kind of let it lean to the side of it and just roll it, rolls really well. But yeah, it looks really good, looks the part. And I am glad that we put the sprue marks to the inside. It looks a little bit better, a little extra added touch, and that's just kind of how things are. Here it is in the back, and yeah, it just looks like a bent over robot with an engine growing out of his knees, but that's Cycle, and it's exactly what I want. I wouldn't want it any different. I wouldn't want to reinvent the wheel. I wouldn't want it to turn into a super ultra perfect motorcycle. I love the transformation. I love the look. I love the aesthetic. I like everything about it when it comes to looks and aesthetic with this, but looking at the front, I do think that it does look a little bit better with these other hands. So I am going to swap out that other hand, and magic, there it is. I think it does look better with those wider hands on it. That's kind of what it's supposed to look like, I think. So that's what they're there for. So anyway, yeah, looking pretty good overall. I do like this look of the figure. Let's get into a few comparisons. All right, so for comparison here, I do want to compare him to the Super GOBOTS version, and really a lot of size similarity here between these two. It's a little bit smaller, but not a lot. So looking at the size, Super GOBOTS, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good size of figure. Kind of looking at it like this. What we should have gotten with Super GOBOTS back in the day, sort of. I like the articulation, all that kind of stuff too. Here is compared to the original, and so many similarities to the original. It does match this one even better because we've got the silver on it and all of that. But see, this silver goes all the way down like this, and then it kind of has more blue in this, which I think is more cartoon accurate, if that's correct. But I also do like more adjustable, like this is adjustable, and some more adjustable parts to it than this. But I mean, it's really kind of hard to deny the way you feel about the original. I mean, that's just all your many hundreds of hours of fun with it back in the day, right? So it's kind of a tough one to say that it's better, but it's better. And size-wise, next to Magic Square Optimus Prime, because I think everything should scale next to like an Optimus Prime, which they're all about the same size for the most part. But this is super clean and Super G1, so yeah, pretty good. All right, so this is my look at the $50 Mega House Bike Robo Cycle figure, and I gotta say that it is more or less what we should have gotten for the original finished toy. It basically takes a finished toy and just turns it into a little bit more articulation and makes it look better, in my opinion. In some ways, I would have liked fag metallized chrome. I would have liked for it to have tighter joints, and I would have liked die cast. I would have liked a lot of things, but it is sub $50 price range, and you're looking at it bigger than what Action Robo did or Action Toys did, and it is cheaper than what Action Toys did, or around the same price point, and you're talking many years later. So with that, you do have to put a little bit of it together and build it, which is really almost a non-factor or nothing, but I really got to figure out a way to tighten up joints so you can get a little bit better posing with it. You can get it in a pose and keep its pose, then it's pretty good. But with that, there's a little bit of working to the poses. The worst part is the shoulders, then the hips are a little bit loose. But yeah, you can still get that pose. But I look forward to everything else coming out with this. What do you think about this? Are you in on this toy line? Or you want to support GOBOTS? You want to wait for a real masterpiece? You might be waiting for the rest of your life. But anyway, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Teddy Hanger out.
Excellent! Activate the Ultrazone! The Guardians! Crasher, Coptool, stop those blackheads!
It's your turn now, Psykill.
I think I'll pass.
Affirmative. Gotta go, Psykill. We'll have to finish this another time.